Hey guys, what's going on? Jürgen from Zergrino Sports here, and today we are here with a Royal Rumble reactions / review video. I used to do these in the summer when they started doing pay-per-views and stuff more frequently, but I stopped doing them mainly because it was the pay-per-views generally weren't too good. They're always like bits and pieces. But it's a new year, so I think I'm going to start them up again. It's fun to talk about wrestling. Just talk into a mic and share my thoughts on wrestling and stuff. And get your feedback and all that good shit. So, we're doing the Rumble. And I've got the results on my computer here that I can read off to you. Because I don't got actual notes. Because I'm not prepared. I'm never prepared for anything. But yeah, okay, so the show ran a total of 6 hours, I think. Because they made all the big four pay-per-views, 4-hour main show and the 2-hour pre-show, which is just way too fucking much. I don't understand why. But so on the pre-show, they had 3 matches. They had the SmackDown Women's 6-women tag match, I guess. And then they had the tag title, the Raw tag title match, and then Nia Jax and Sasha Banks. Naomi, Nikki Bella, and Becky Lynch, that team beat the team of heels, which were Alexa Bliss, Mickie James, and Natalya. Naomi got the pin on Alexa Bliss, which is, I think, the second time or third time maybe that she's gotten a pin on Bliss in non-title competition. I'm guessing they're going to try and set up her and Naomi for Elimination Chamber or maybe even WrestleMania, who knows. Personally, I'd rather have, if it were up to me, I'd have Becky and Mickie for the title at Mania, but that's not going to happen because they're not going to have Alexa Bliss lose the title, I don't think, at Elimination Chamber. I just don't think it'll happen. It'll probably just be like a side feud, I guess. It'll just be like a secondary women's match if they do end up doing Becky and Mickie, which I would love to see. Both are really talented competitors. The team of faces won. I'm just happy Nikki Bella didn't get the pin because she fucking sucks and I hate her. Then we had the Raw tag title matches, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson versus Cesaro and Sheamus. The club won the titles. It's about damn time that they won the titles, in my opinion. If you do ask me, it's well overdue that they've won the titles. So it's interesting though, because given the fact that it's Rumble season, it's Mania season, pretty much Road to WrestleMania, I would have held off until Mania to have them win the titles, because why have them win the titles on a pre-show when you can have them win the titles on a main show at Mania and get a huge ovation, because the fans still love them, because they were beasts in Japan, and they've just been booked pretty poorly since coming to the WWE, at least in my opinion. I would have personally held it off until Mania to have them win the titles, but I'm happy that they won the titles. It's about time. I didn't actually catch the finish all that well. Somebody texted me or something, I checked my phone, and then the finish happened while I was looking at my phone. I kind of caught it in the corner of my eye. I think what happened was, I think it was Carl Anderson rolled up Cesaro after some shit happened, and he pulled the tights, the ref didn't see it, and he counted 1, 2, 3, they won, which also there was 2 refs, I remember there being 2 refs, I think one of them took a bump or something, and then the finish happened. I can't remember correctly, but the right people won, but I'd argue it's the wrong time, but whatever. Happy nonetheless, they've deserved so much better. Nia Jax versus Sasha Banks, I didn't give a fuck about this match at all. I didn't pay attention to this match at all, because I knew it wouldn't be good. I didn't really get invested into it. I watched it, I was just there, I was like, I don't know, man. When I was on this, and then I was playing FIFA on my Xbox while this match was happening, I didn't give a fuck because they built it poorly. I cannot buy Nia Jax as a monster heel because her voice doesn't fit the monster heel role, and her entrance music doesn't fit the monster heel role. If you want to have her be a monster heel, have her just not speak and give her some fucking menacing theme, and then have her just fucking bulldoze people. Don't let her talk, because her promos aren't that good, and her voice does not fit her monster heel character. Maybe give her a mouthpiece, I don't know. But yeah, she won, and it was pretty much a burial, like straight up. It was pretty much a squash match. Sorry, not a burial. Sasha barely got any offense off. She just got fucked. Like, it was, and it's sad to see because Sasha should be at the top of the card all the time. And I know they can't have her at the top of the card because they did the whole fucking Sasha and Charlotte thing over the summer and in the fall. I do think Sasha will find a way back into the main event scene for Mania, and then she could get her final victory at Mania and beat Charlotte's pay-per-view streak. That's what I would do personally, because Sasha deserves like a big fucking victory with confetti and all that shit. But yeah, nobody gives a fuck. I didn't give a fuck about that match. Whatever. Then you go into the main show. Started off with the Raw Women's Championship match, which was Charlotte and Bayley. It was a good match. It was nothing special. It didn't blow me away or anything. The finish was a whatever the fuck Charlotte's finisher is called, onto the apron. I forget what it's called, her finisher, for some reason. That flip cutter thing. I don't know what the fuck it's called. Natural selection, that's what it's called. She did that on the apron. It didn't look as good as I guess they thought it would. It just kind of looked like a move, but I don't know. Match was alright. It was nothing special though. It's, whatever. Charlotte retained. She was always going to retain. She's not going to lose the title until Mania, at least. They're not going to throw away her streak at the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble is a big pay-per-view, don't get me wrong, but it's not big enough to throw away her streak. Next, you had the Universal title match, which was good. It was good. There was some fucking crazy spots on it in that match. Fucking Kevin Owens did a frog splash to the outside through a table on Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns fucking threw Kevin Owens into this like stack of chairs that Kevin Owens had built up, and that looked like it fucking killed, man. I was surprised he was alive after that. Jericho threw down some brass knucks, and KO did a Superman punch with the brass knucks, which of course Roman Reigns kicked out of because it's fucking Roman Reigns. Got to make him look strong. I was fearing the worst at that point, honestly. I was like, okay, Roman's winning this match. He's going to fucking hit one spear and then it's going to be done. But luckily, Braun Strowman came out of nowhere, fucked up Roman Reigns, and Kevin Owens won. So he's still champion, which is good. The right person went over. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. You can like Roman. You can hate Roman. He should not have won. He should not be champion. He's not ready. He wasn't ready a year ago. He wasn't ready 2 years ago. He's just not ready. With Roman Reigns, he needs to be an upper mid-card heel who does not talk and just fucking whoops people's asses like a fucking wrecking crew, man. He just needs to fucking go in, whoop some ass, leave. And then as he gets ready and as he grows as a wrestler, with his promos, with his in-ring work, because he's good in the ring, but he's not at that level yet. As he develops as a wrestler, start incorporating promos into his character, but short and sweet promos. Don't let him go on for like 5 minutes and talk about fucking some stupid fucking like kids fairy tales or some shit like they've done in the past. Just give him like 30 seconds on the mic just to say some mean shit, fuck somebody up, and then go in the back. Just let him do that until he gets ready, and then get him up into the main event. Because if it's a gradual progression into the main event scene, I doubt anybody will care. But when you shove him down everybody's throats when he's not ready, people are going to be pissed, and they are, which I will touch on more later. So yeah, good. It was a good match, don't get me wrong. It was just, right man went over. I think most people were dreading the worst, but luckily, KO retained the title. Next, you had Neville and Rich Swann for the Cruiserweight Championship. It was a good match. Neville won with a submission. He didn't do any flippy shit, which is good because it fits his heel character. I'm happy for Neville. He's deserved a lot more since he got called up. Obviously, his injury kind of fucked him over a little bit before Mania last year. But yeah, he's really growing into his heel persona. He's doing it really well, and his motivations are sound, which is good. Like, when you have a heel character, it's good to have motivations that make sense and that are plausible. So it's good that he has that. It was a good match, and the right man went over, so not much more to say about that. Next, match of the night, John Cena vs. AJ Styles for WWE Championship. I don't know if I'd go as far as saying it was better than their SummerSlam match. It's definitely on par. It could, and it probably is a bit better. It was a fantastic match. The psychology was on point. Everybody was pulling off like crazy shit. They were doing moves that were fucking insane. They stole each other's moves, man. Like, it was fucking crazy. The one problem I did have with it was Cena kind of like no-sold some shit. Not like no-selling, like hardcore, like get hit with the Styles Clash and get the fuck up. But AJ did a lot more for Cena with selling than Cena did for AJ, is what I'm saying. But on the flip side of that, AJ kicked out of a top rope attitude adjustment, and he kicked out of an attitude adjustment earlier in the match, you know. So it's like a give and take, I guess. 100% fantastic match. Probably 5 stars, I'd say, to be honest with you. Maybe 4.5, 4 3/4, something like that. It was definitely a very good match. Bully Ray, or Bubba Ray, if you don't know him from his TNA stint, on Twitter said it was better than Kenny Omega and Okada. So, you know, I don't know if that was him being sincere, I guess, or him being a troll, but I haven't watched that match, so I can't compare. But it was a fantastic match of the night, 100%. John Cena won. He hit John Cena, for once in his life, his face when somebody kicks out of a big move and he's like, what do I have to do now? It didn't look like he was in a fucking show for 2-year-olds for once in his goddamn career. He looked serious, and he looked like, what the fuck do I have to do to beat this guy? Which was very, very good. He won. Not even mad that he tied the record after that match. And Cena's always been good. It's just, you know, when he got shoved down everybody's throats, it's kind of the Roman situation. When you get shoved down people's throats, nobody's going to fucking take it. Now, since his U.S. title run, I think he's freshened up his character a bit. He still does the same shit, but he's not pushed down people's throats. So I'm okay with it. And he's probably going to lose the title Elimination Chamber, which I will also touch on later. So now we go into the main event, the Royal Rumble match. Luckily for me, the WWE on their website has put up a detailed thing about the Rumble with how much time people spent in the match, all that shit. So that's very good, because I can look at this shit. Okay, so except for ads keep getting in the way because they fucking formatted their website fucking in a shit way. So, all right. Here we go. Okay, so Big Cass entered at number 1, which is surprising. I wasn't really expecting Big Cass to be in it. I wasn't really expecting any of Enzo or Cass to be in it, but they were, so whatever. I was expecting Sami Zayn to be number 1, actually, before he drew the number 8 earlier in the show. I was expecting him to be number 1 and do an Iron Man thing and get so close and then not win. But he didn't. He came in at number 8, like I said. Chris Jericho came in at number 2, and when he came in at number 2, I'm like, okay, cool. He's going to do the Iron Man. He's going to win, and he's going to face Kevin Owens at Mania. Great. Good job. That didn't happen. I'll tell you that right now. He did eliminate 2 people. He eliminated Sheamus and Cesaro. Sheamus and Cesaro eliminated the New Day, and then they were about to go somebody in the corner. Sheamus tried to turn on Cesaro. Jericho capitalized, threw them over, and then they argued on the outside. Chris Jericho was in the match for 1 hour and 13 seconds. He spent the longest amount of time in the hour. The next closest one was Sami Zayn at 46 minutes, nearly 47 minutes. So I just had to take a drink of something. All right. Kalisto at number 3, Mojo Rawley at number 4, Jack Gallagher, who was pretty funny. He had his umbrella, and he used his umbrella a lot. It was pretty good shift from him. And number 6 was Mark Henry, and then number 7 was Braun Strowman. When I saw Kalisto and Mojo and Jack Gallagher come out in succession, I knew that it was either going to be Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, or Braun Strowman coming out around the 7 to 9 spot. I knew it wouldn't be 8, because Sammy got 8, but I knew it would be around there because they were filling up the ring with jobbers to make somebody look fucking strong. Braun Strowman put in a great shift. He was only in there for 13 minutes, but he did really good. Excuse me. During his time in there, he eliminated Big Show, James Ellsworth, Mark Henry, Kalisto, Dillinger, Ty Dillinger, Big Cass, and Mojo Rawley, which, by the way, reminds me, Ty Dillinger was number 10. They actually fucking did it. Everybody thought they weren't going to do it because it was too obvious, quote unquote, but they actually did it. He got a great ovation, man, and it's about damn time that he's on the main roster. Hopefully this is a full call-up. Hopefully it's not a one-off appearance like Bayley did at one of the pay-per-views a while ago. Hopefully it is that full-time call-up. Because Ty Dillinger deserves it, man. He's so great. Yeah. So yeah, Braun Strowman put in a good shift. He was eliminated by Baron Corbin, who entered at number 13. Big Show was number 9, by the way. James Ellsworth was number 11. He lasted 15 seconds. Dean Ambrose was in at number 12. He lasted 27 minutes. Baron Corbin actually lasted 32 and a half minutes, which is pretty impressive. I think that's the third highest. The Miz was in there from number 15 for 32 minutes. But yeah, I think Baron Corbin was the third highest in the Rumble, which is pretty impressive. Baron Corbin looked good too. A lot of people don't like Baron Corbin because they like to take the piss out of his balding, his receding hairline, him going bald, and how his belly button looks like a face or some shit like that. But the guy's improving all the time. He's got a great look. He's got a great move set. His finisher is fucking amazing. His the end of days is his finisher. The deep six is fucking great as well. That's a great move. His promos are getting better and better, especially if you look at Talking Smack. He cut some great shit on there. So he's improving day by day, and I think he'll be in the upper mid card. Or even the main event scene by the end of 2017, depending on what direction they go with his character, of course. I've liked Baron Corbin since I first saw him in his TakeOver debut in NXT. I saw him, he did a squash match. I liked his look. He fucking looked strong, and he had a great fucking finisher. He didn't really talk back then, which is what they should do with Roman, like I said. But, with time, incorporate promos. Yeah, Baron Corbin has a good future, I think, if they keep backing him. So he had the third longest time in there, followed by Miz, which was like a minute behind at 32 minutes, 44 seconds. Kofi Kingston was at 14. Kofi's not getting eliminated spot this time was he went on to, there's the ring post, and then they have the LED Trons on, like, right onto the ring post. He went on to one of those, and Baron Corbin went to swipe his legs out, and he fucking jumped and fucking went chest first onto that and held himself on. He got himself in. Compared to what he's done in the last few years, that's not as impressive, but it's still impressive as fuck that he didn't, fucking, kill himself or something. He landed the fucking chest first. It's like, Jesus. With James Ellsworth's elimination, it was funny because he came to the ring and Braun Strowman was waiting for him, so he's like, nah, I'm going to chill out here. Then Dean came out as the next entrant, and then he hyped up Ellsworth to go into the ring and fight Strowman, and then he counted to 3, and on 3 they were both going to run in, but then Dean Ambrose stayed out and fucking Ellsworth got killed, which was nice to see. Number 16 was Sheamus. Sheamus eliminated Woods, Xavier Woods, who came in later, Kofi Kingston, and Big E. Along with Cesaro, like I said earlier, they eliminated the New Day. By the way, Gallagher was eliminated by Mark Henry. He threw him over because he was doing top rope shit with his umbrella, and then he threw him over and he kind of floated down with his umbrella. It didn't actually float, but it was the image. It was funny. Rusev was Sheamus was 16, 17 was Big E, Rusev was 18. Rusev put in a good shift, 22 minutes. He did pretty good in that match. He didn't eliminate anybody, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Cesaro, obviously, at 19. Xavier Woods came in at 20. Bray Wyatt was number 21. He put in 24 minutes, which is a good shift. He was in there for 45 minutes last year, I believe, Bray Wyatt. So, yeah, I'm hoping he wins it next year or the year after. He needs to win a Rumble, man, because it would be great. Apollo Crews was in there, number 22. Randy Orton came in at number 23. He lasted 20 minutes and 50 seconds, and he ended up winning the thing, which I'll elaborate on more later. Dolph was 24. He didn't last too long. Luke Harper was 25. He lasted about 10 minutes. The great thing about Luke Harper is he turned on Bray Wyatt. It's a great character development. Bray was trying to calm things down between him and Randy, and he did his discus clothesline and fucking laid out Bray Wyatt. It was a great moment. Brock came in at 26. And eliminated some people. Enzo came out at 27, which he lasted 18 seconds. He got himself hyped up on the outside doing his running man challenge thing, got in the ring, tried to fight Brock. Brock fucking demolished him with a clothesline and fucking threw him out. 18 seconds for Enzo. Goldberg was at 28, and he eliminated Brock Lesnar like right away, pretty much. Building up to when Brock is eventually going to beat him at Mania, and it's going to be this massive fucking deal. Undertaker was 29. He lasted about 8 minutes, and then Roman fucking Reigns was number 30, and this pissed me off, and you could hear the boos from the arena. And in the Alamo Dome, which had more than 50,000 people, half of which I'd say were probably casual fans who liked Roman, and half of which were actual wrestling fans like myself who don't like Roman, you could like audibly hear a "this is bullshit" chant for about a whole minute in that big of an arena with that many people, with that split of a demographic. Because it was absolute fucking bullshit. He shouldn't have been in the match. It should have been Joe. It should have been Balor if he was ready, which I'm guessing he wasn't. It should have been anybody else, man. Bring back Ray. Try and get Kenny Omega in there. Actually, Kenny Omega is legally not allowed to be in there, actually. But, like, fucking, I don't know, man. Get Jason Jordan in there instead of fucking Roman Reigns, man. Nobody gives a fuck about Roman Reigns, honestly. Nobody wants him in there. Roman Reigns only lasted 5 minutes, but he was one of the last two, man. He eliminated The Undertaker, because they're going to do that match, of course, which nobody wants to fucking see, but Vince does because he likes big, sweaty men. He eliminated Undertaker. He eliminated Chris Jericho with ease, and he eliminated Bray Wyatt with ease. And I was fearing the worst, because I was like, they're not going to do it. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, it's WWE. They could very well fucking do it. Luckily, Randy did win. He actually had odds-on favorite from a bunch of betting places, so that worked out. Another thing, this Rumble sucked. The Rumble match and the pay-per-view. The pay-per-view was okay. It was nothing special. I'd give it like a 6 out of 10, maybe 7 out of 10 for the maybe 7.5 pushing it for AJ and Cena's match. The actual Royal Rumble match sucked. There was one surprise entrant, which wasn't even a surprise entrant because everybody was expecting it to happen, which was Ty Dillinger. Well, half expecting it, half not expecting it, which was a great moment, admittedly. Another great moment, for me at least, was Luke Harper. Nobody fucking mentioned it, though, because I guess people don't give a fuck, which they should. You had Brock and Goldberg and Undertaker faced off for a bit before they could get into like fighting. People broke it up. And then you had Roman Reigns and Undertaker setting up their shit, which doesn't make sense because Strowman screwed Roman earlier in the night, which I guess what they'll do is have Roman versus Braun Strowman at whatever the next fucking Raw pay-per-view is, have Undertaker screw Roman Reigns at that pay-per-view and then set up the feud that way, I guess. Here's the problem. You had 3 huge fucking names in Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, and Undertaker in this match. 3 huge fucking names, and they faced off on the go-home show. Brock was in there for 4 fucking minutes, 4.5 fucking minutes. Goldberg was in there for 3 fucking minutes and 20 seconds, and then Undertaker was in there for 8 fucking minutes and 46 seconds. That's absolute horse shit. It's garbage, because you have 3 huge fucking names in wrestling, and they're in there for a combined total of roughly 15 minutes? Goldberg was in there for 3 minutes, fam. Brock Lesnar was in there for 4 minutes. Like, why? What's the point in wasting those 3 spots on guys who don't fucking need it if they're going to be in for that short of a time? Like, it pisses me off. And Roman coming out at 30 pisses me off. He's ruined the Rumble 3 years in a fucking row. Nobody gives a fuck about Roman. Nobody wants Roman and Undertaker. People want Undertaker and Cena, but they're not going to give us that because Vince is like, nah, I don't want that. Everybody seems to think we're doing that. Let's go against the grain because I'm Vince Kennedy McMahon. CM Punk was 100% right in 2011. The WWE will be much better when Vince is gone. I don't mean dead, I just mean gone. Fire him if he steps down, retires. So as if he's not in control of creative, the product will get better. Look at NXT. Look at Triple H's involvement in NXT. NXT, before all the people got brought up in the draft and shit like that and got called up after Mania and shit, was the best thing in the company. 100%. Because of Triple H. Because Triple H fights for these guys, he protects these guys, and he knows how good they are and what they can do if they're giving time. But Vince is stuck in the mindset that this is the 80s and you need two big muscly dudes to fucking fall over each other and botch moves in a slow ass match, and that's gonna get ratings, and it's not. Times have changed and Vince is just out of touch, and it pisses me off. Because this Rumble could have been fucking amazing. It could have been absolutely amazing. You could have had somebody new and fresh win. You could have given it to Sammy if he didn't have heat backstage. You could have given it to Cesaro. I thought maybe I'm in a Twitter group where we talk about wrestling, and somebody mentioned how he had an idea where Cesaro and Sheamus would lose the titles. Cesaro would win the Rumble, show up, and then the next night, Sheamus would set up a rematch. He wouldn't show up, and then show up on Tuesday for SmackDown and fight for the SmackDown title. You could have had, Samoa Joe win it, which everybody wanted. But instead, Vince thinks it's 2007 or 2009. He's got his fucking brain mixed up. Randy won the Rumble. Cena's the champion. By the way, I'm not mad about Randy winning the Rumble just yet. Because Bray Wyatt is probably going to win the Elimination Chamber, win the title, and then it'll be Randy versus Bray, which I'm all in for, because their storyline has been great so far. But if they fucking do Randy Orton versus John Cena for the WWE title in 2017 as the main event of WrestleMania, that's absolute horseshit. 100% horseshit. Because nobody wants to see it. Nobody in their right mind would want to see that. Except for the casual fan who's 5 years old. And it's oh man, those two are big names. They talk about them a lot. That's a good match. Nobody wants that. If they could have given Sammy the Rumble, it could have been Sammy and Kevin Owens in the main event of Mania. They would tear the fucking house down. If they changed the finish of NXT on Saturday and had Nakamura win the fucking Rumble and face AJ if he retained, they would have blown the roof off the place. Joe and AJ would have blown the roof off the place. Vince is fucking retarded, and he's just so he's just got it in his head that big dudes are what everybody wants to see, and it's definitely not. Not since the early 2000s. Cruiserweights are taking over. People with agility and psychology and good wrestling, fluent wrestling, are taking over. And he's just behind. He's not up with the times. And it's hurting the product. It is. So, I don't know. Something needs to change, man. Because the overall show wasn't bad. Obviously, AJ and Cena had a great match. And the other matches were not bad. It's just Vince... Roman ruined the Rumble again. He did. Because Vince is fucking delusional. And he thinks we all want to see Roman, apparently. The only way I am happy about Roman being 30 is if it causes a heel turn. If it causes a heel turn for Roman, then I'm fine with him being 30. But if he stays as his face, if he stays as the, throw whatever you want at me, because I'll fucking beat you, babyface piece of shit he is right now, I'm gonna be pissed. It's because it's fucking ridiculous, man. It's just, I don't know. I give the show a 6, 7 if I'm being generous, because the Rumble was disappointing. There was no surprise entrance, no surprise returns, other than Ty Dillinger, which was they had to do it. If they didn't, they would have gotten a chorus of boos at the number 10 spot. So, yeah. I don't know, man. Some people had really good showings in the Rumble, like Strowman and Corbin and who else was good in there? Bray did okay. I would say Chris Jericho, but for fucking 40 minutes he was on the outside of the ring, just chilling on the floor, which made no sense. They should have given it to Jericho, set up the Jericho and Kevin Owens feud that way, man. They could have done so much shit better than they did. And they didn't. And it's just a shame, because it could have been so much better. The possibilities were so much better. And they just went for one of the worst options. The only way it could have been worse, with different variables depending on, Elimination Chamber, all that shit, is if Roman won. And that's... it's shit, man. It's disappointing. Everybody looks forward to the Rumble, and for the past 3 fucking years, maybe even 4... Yeah, because fucking Batista won the one before Roman did. So for the past 4 years, they've been fucking up the Rumble. And I think it has to be on purpose now. You can't fuck up a pay-per-view 4 fucking years in a row using the same guy 3 of those years with the same formula all of those years without doing it on purpose. There's no fucking way. There's no way. Anyways, I've been rambling on for half an hour. I doubt anybody's going to get this far into the video. But if you did, please leave a like, subscribe, share all your friends, all that good shit. And I'll see you guys next time.